My name's Todd Holcomb. I'm a steam fitter too at The Ohio State University. We're dealing with bringing in a steam station today. Everywhere you're at, when you're dealing with steam, it can be different. But here at OSU, coming in from the tunnel is always 185 pounds. What we're going to do today is bring our steam into journalism from 185 pounds. We're going to break it down through these control valves to 12 pounds. The most important thing when it comes to dealing with steam and condensate is wearing your safety gear. Every time that we at Ohio State deal with steam and condensate, we have to have our leather gloves, our sleeves to protect our arms from burns, and our glasses to protect our eyes. I'm wearing dark shades because we weld a lot. It helps protect our eyes, and I can see just fine with them in lighted areas. Last but not least, we always make sure we have steel-toed boots, which I'm wearing, which are slip-ons. They help protect my legs basically from my shins down. They're waterproof and they're steel-toed. Tools you'll need to bring up a steam station. Doesn't mean you'll actually need them all, but it's good to have. Your ears or your ultra probe to test steam traps. Temperature gun to test traps. Pipe wrench. Grease gun. We also bring a case of air fittings. A lot of our valves are also ran on air. So, if we have any trouble with our air, we have the proper fittings to fix instantly. Usually the first step we do here at Ohio State is make sure that our valves are easily workable. How we do that is we grease the stems, grease the valves. Every isolation valve should have a grease fitting. If not, you can also just do the stems. The person that comes in after you, ever has to shut it down, will thank you for doing this. We usually go through, give it a couple pumps. Do the same with our outlet isolation valves, which are these two. This will definitely allow these valves to work better and make people happy that have to shut them off and turn them back in. Second step, after we've already greased our isolation valves, is to bring in my outlet isolation valves. There's no steam from here over, so it does not matter if I open this one or this one first. With us greasing these, they should exercise good, but sometimes they don't. So I got a pipe wrench just in case I can't get this open. These open fairly good, and they are working good. That's why we grease them. I open these, never lock them up, take them back a good turn so the wheels are loose. I do the same with this. This one's working properly too. That's why we always grease our isolation valves. Bring it back a good turn. We're set, and we'll move on to our next step. Depending on what controller you get, the range can be different. Since we're going from a high to a low, this controller, which controls my two valves, is a 0 to 25. They come in different ranges. We're staying in the low range. So 0 to 25 is fine because we're going to 12 to 15. Instantly, what I'll end up be doing is opening up my controller And what I do is control my valves by a little knob up in the top, which will then open up my valves, my control valves, to start giving me pressure, in this case low pressure, on this side. And I will slowly bring it up to 12 to 15 pounds. And this will always change depending on what building or where you're at and how much they need on the other side of your control valves. Every steam station that you will deal with, there's all different kinds of control valves. Here in this building, at journalism at Ohio State University, we are using Python valves. Each one of these valves needs air pressure to open. This instance, here's our air, and we got to control these valves by looking at the set spring, which is located on the side of the valve here on this actual stem of the valve. I look on there. When I look at that, my set spring range is 38 pounds of air. I know I need 38 pounds of air for this valve to work properly. Luckily, no matter what I got for air pressure, these valves come equipped with its own regulator. I can dial it down to 38 pounds. You can also go roughly 5 pounds over. But if you work it too low, the valve will not work properly. My valves are set about 45. I'm ready to go. I know they're ready to go. And we're going to get this station up and running properly. So, I will now move over to here. My controller, this controller, is a very good controller. We use it all around The Ohio State University, and it is by Spirax Sarco. I will open it by this side, push the button. There's my controls. I will now take off my gloves. I need to use this little knob, which is located in the very top center of this controller, and I will slowly bring up pressure. So, I don't want to give it 15 pounds right off the bat, so I will give it roughly 2.5 to 5. We can now see the valves working properly. They're starting to open, and it's starting to give me my pressure. Here's my gauge over here. We got to be very careful when we do this, because if a station is shut down for a while, condensate builds up in it. We open this up too fast, the steam hits that condensate, and what we end up having is a lot of banging going on, which not only scares people upstairs, it can scare people downstairs around us that aren't used to that. I'm used to it. The average person ain't around steam is not. Also, that can do damage to your system, so we want to bring it up slowly. My dial, which is my black dial on here, is what I control. The red dial, which is behind it, is going to match it. This station's running perfect, so my red dial's matching my black. Right now, I'm set about 2.5 to 5 pounds. It can range from here to my gauge. I've got roughly 5 pounds on that, 2.5 to 5 on here. Everything seems to be working properly. We've let it creep in for a little bit. We got 5 pounds. We want to take it up to 12 to 15. We know our lines are nice and warm now, so what we can do is do our increase in pressure. Took it up to 7.5. You hear the valves working properly. Opening and closing. We call that hunting a little bit. It'll heat. It will actually meet what I have, and then these should back down. Stop hunting. We give it some time. I want to creep it up a little more. I'm now at 10 pounds. My black swing arms meeting where I've set it on the red arm. We know this station Needs 12 to 15. We've slowly brought it up. We're heating up pretty good. And we're starting to slow down on our hunting. I'm ready to bring it up. There's 12 pounds. We will be good. Everything's looking like it's running properly. I can shut this, and we're good to go. Building has got its pressure, which is 12 pounds. We all know if we're dealing with steam, we also have condensate. My stations here run the best when it's dry. So I got to get rid of the condensate out of my steam line. Every steam station, steam lines, whatever you're dealing with steam needs a way to get rid of that. How we do it? Steam traps. These are drip traps. They're on the bottom of a riser. This will help you eliminate and get rid of a lot of the condensate. Us knowing that we have 12 pounds of steam, we need to get the correct trap. So, these are called F&T traps. Coming in the top, out the bottom. This is called an F&T 15. It can also be an F&T 30. That is dealing with the number of pressure or below. So, if I had 85 pounds of pressure over here, I wouldn't want to use an F&T 15. I would rather use something that's high in rating. So, how we test these? We have a temperature gun. We can also use ears to test these. How we use these? This is hooked up to some basically earbuds, and we can hear if that's blowing through. If it's blowing through, it's going to be very loud. And also, my charts will go up and down and go crazy and be very loud on here, and you'll be able to tell through the ears. So, that being said, I'll test it with this. I will use this and connect it on the outlet pipe of this trap to read and hear if steam is blowing through my trap. It comes through the top and out the bottom. So I will test over here. By this reading that I got, this trap is working perfect. I can hear the trap opening and closing, and it's not loud at all. The other way was with the temperature gun, which I can read. I'll test the temperature on the outlet side of the trap. We know steam's at 212 degrees. So if this is reading 212 or higher, we know it's bad. If it's even at 205, 200, we know it's getting ready to go bad. Good time to change it. I will test it. We already know the trap is good by this. This should read the same. I test the temperature, and I'm getting about 170 to 180. We know that trap is good. It's basically double checking, making sure we're not missing anything while we check that trap.